Hello everyone, today we have a new friend, Lanhee. Welcome.
Hi, thank you very much. Thank you.
Could you say hello to our audience?
Hello everyone, I'm Lanhee Chen, and I am a candidate for California State Controller. 大家好，我是陈仁宜，加州主计长的候选人。现在我们11月8号有一个很重要的 election， 那我是希望大家可以支持我，在这个现在我的 campaign.
Okay. Could you introduce yourself,
Sure.
about your background, about your
Sure.
job and your family?
Sure, I'm Lanhee Chen, and I grew up in Southern California, near Los Angeles, in a place called Rowland Heights. Many people probably have heard of Rowland Heights before because we have a lot of our friends in the broader Chinese community from Taiwan, Hong Kong, China, who have relatives and friends in Rowland Heights. My parents came to the United States from Taiwan in the 1970s. My father is a physician. My mother is a chemist. And they met in the United States and they got married here, and I was born in North Carolina. And then at the age of 6, I moved from North Carolina to Southern California.
Okay.
And I grew up in Southern California. I spent my childhood in Southern California. I went to my local public high school in Rowland Heights, and then I went to Harvard University, where I got 4 degrees, including my bachelor's degree, my master's degree, a law degree, and then a PhD in political science. And then after my time in education, I went to Washington, D.C. and worked for President George W. Bush and was a healthcare advisor to him. And then spent many years involved in national politics and presidential campaigns. I was an advisor to Mitt Romney when he ran for president. I was his chief policy advisor in 2012. And then I worked for Marco Rubio on his presidential campaign in 2016.
Wow.
And then I came back after that to Stanford. And I've been at the Stanford University Law School, also the Stanford University Public Policy Program, as well as the Hoover Institution, where I've been a fellow. And I've lived in the Bay Area for the last 9 years. And through that whole time, I've been involved in national policy and national politics, as well as policy and politics here in California.
So why are you running, and what's the job of a California Controller?
Yes, I'm running because I'm deeply concerned about California.
Okay.
I believe we have a lot of problems in California that are not being solved right now, whether it's homelessness or public schools that aren't as good as they should be, or public safety. Many of us don't feel safe in our communities anymore, particularly with all of the anti-Asian hate that's going on. A lot of the Chinese Americans and Asian Americans don't feel safe. And so I believe that we have to address some of these problems. Now, the problem is that in California, we spend a lot of money as a state. We spend $300 billion per year. But there's very little accountability or transparency for how the money is spent. And the job of the California Controller is to make sure that we understand where all of the tax money is actually spent. So 我就用中文讲一下。
All right.
就是说，因为我们加州交的税很多，
是。
那这个税我们交的税，我们根本不知道这个钱用到哪里去。
对。
那加州主计长第一个 responsibility 是告诉我们这个用的钱用到哪里去，
是。
然后第二就是说用的钱有没有用了好还是不好，
是。
Is it effective or ineffective？你看像 homelessness 来说，
是。
我们past 3 years 刚才3年用的差不多200亿的钱
，OK，
但是这个 problem 越来越不好啊，所以这个钱根本用的不好，所以主计长可以进去说 OK， 你这个钱用的不好，你应该 improve how the money is spent， 就是说这个 position 第一个 responsibility 是 accountability and transparency.
Yes. Homelessness is a big problem, I think, in every city right now.
Yes.
San Jose.
Yes. LA, San Jose, even Cupertino. You see more and more homeless problems. And the problem is not being solved by our leaders in Sacramento right now. So I want to go to Sacramento to do this job to help us solve and address some of these big challenges we have in our state.
Okay, great. So what do you want to change for California?
Well, number one is I believe, as I said earlier, we need to make sure that we have full accountability for how our money is spent. So one example is I think we need a website or an app that tells us exactly where the money is going, how much we're spending on every item. And then also give each of these items of spending a grade, A, B, C, D, F, to say how well is the spending doing. So that's number one priority, is to make sure we have a website and an app to give us full transparency into spending. Number two is the controller is like the chief auditor of the state of California. So we can go in and check these programs. 可以进去查说这个 spending 用了，第一是用得到哪里去，第二个是说这个 spending 有 effective 没有 effective。像这个 audit power 可以进去查 healthcare spending、homelessness spending、public schools。你看我们用的 public schools 用了那么多钱，但是现在我们今年的 public school test results are very bad. They're very bad for Hispanic children, for Black children, but also for kids across California. We had tremendous learning loss the last couple of years. We need to figure out why that's happening. And so the controller can use the audit power to go in and check and make sure what is going on, why is the money being spent the way it's being spent, and what can we do better. The last point I make is we need what I call honesty in accounting in our state government. For example, we have these big pension programs called CalPERS and CalSTRS that are very, very expensive programs. But we don't know what the long-term obligations will be for taxpayers. Those programs, they help to pay the state workers when they retire. But we don't actually know how much money is owed to those programs. And so we need to be transparent and honest about what those obligations are. And the controller can help make sure that we have honesty in accounting.
That is, you want to change, right?
Yes, those are the three things I want to do as controller.
Yes. I know there also have another one to running for this position. So could you tell us why
they should support me? Because I believe I have the right background, education, experience to do the job. I have been involved in government. I've been involved in teaching at Stanford. I've been a member of the faculty at Stanford. But I also have a business career. I've also been the chairman of the board of El Camino Hospital, which is here in Northern California. I've been an investor. I've been someone who started my own small business. So I understand all the elements of this job. I believe I have the right background and experience. The person I'm running against, unfortunately, I believe she doesn't have the right background and experience. She also has had significant personal financial trouble. She did not pay her taxes for a year. She had her home foreclosed on. She has been very sympathetic to socialism and socialist ideas. I don't believe that's the background. We don't need someone who has had personal financial difficulty, as well as someone who is in favor of very extreme ideology. That's not what we need in California right now. So I think the contrast between my opponent and me is very clear. And so I hope that people will look into the backgrounds of me and my opponent. They'll understand what I offer in this job, what she offers, and I hope that they'll select me as part of this election.
Okay, great. So I think you do a lot of job, the South California and the North California. So could you tell us what your campaign team do so far? Yeah,
well, we have been traveling all throughout California, all the way down to San Diego, all the way up to the northernmost part of the state into Sacramento and the Bay Area and LA to try and spread my message. We've been meeting with groups. We meet with a lot of people in the Chinese community, in the Asian community, in the Hispanic community. We want to get the word out about my campaign. So we're traveling, we're raising money. And if people would like to help me, if they would like to find out more about me and how they can help, I hope they go to my website, which is Chen for California, CHENFOR California.com, to find out more about my campaign and how they can sign up to help.
Okay, so the next question is about we know the election day is so close. So what do you want to say to the voters?
Well, I hope everybody understands that I want to help solve the big problems we have in California. And as I said earlier, I think I've got the right background and experience to solve these problems. I believe that we can do better as a state. I believe we can be more transparent. I believe the voters can be better served. But it's not going to happen right now. Every single newspaper in California is supporting my campaign for controller. San Francisco Chronicle, San Jose Mercury News, LA Times, they're all supporting me because they believe it's important to have a controller who is looking over the finances of the state to make sure the money is being spent well. So I think I have the right background and experience, and I hope people will support me. 我是希望说大家会支持我，因为我的 background 跟 experience 是我们这个 job 这个主计长我们应该要有这个 background experience， 我们需要一个人有这个 background 跟 experience。那我是觉得说我会可以去做一个 very good job for the taxpayers of our state.
Yeah, that is very important position.
Yes, it
and
is.
You have the rich experience.
Thank you. 谢谢。
Anything else you want to add?
No, thank you for having me today, and I hope to have your support on November the 8th.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.